What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we got for you a box jump progression we like to use with our athletes. So this is kind of how we start off our training, whether we're dealing with youth athletes or whether we're dealing with our D1 college athletes. This is a similar progression that we like to follow, how we start people off, how we progress it. So hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays, so make sure to subscribe to catch all of them. Hope you enjoy. All right, so I love using box jumps as a way to develop the ability for rapid force production. Obviously, they're very great for power, for explosion, as well as hitting a bunch of other plyometrics. But one thing that I love to use these for is when athletes first come in, it can show me a lot about their athletic, I'll say, potential and like where we need to develop. So first thing we have them do, not like first thing, but when we're dealing with boxes, one of the first things we have them do is just a regular standing box jump. I just want to see how they operate, how the athlete looks. Obviously, to a certain point, box jumps don't represent like a vertical jump, right? We get that metric separately than the boxes, but this can show us a lot about an athlete as well, including mobility and all that stuff. So we're just gonna hit a regular standing box jump, super simple. We just start tall, load it, jump up. So just a regular standing box jump, okay? See how that kind of looks. After that, we're gonna go to an approach jump. So I like to make sure we hit double leg and single leg to see the different mechanisms of the athlete. They're two completely different jumps. Some athletes are really good at double, suck at single leg. Others are really good at single leg, can't double for the life of them. So when we hit a double leg, right, we're just here, we're gonna load it, we're gonna jump up, just float on top. When we hit single leg, loading it, pop up, jump on two. So the reason we do both of those is because they tell us different things, right? Both of them tell me your ability to decelerate, because I'm running this way, my ability to decelerate, stop my horizontal momentum, pop it up into vertical, right? Vertical force production. The double leg, that's that load. Single leg, it's more reactive. So as I'm running, I use what my speed, I am able to pop, jump up, land on two. So if an athlete's really good at a standing jump, but can't do a very good approach jump, that tells me we really have to work on deceleration. For example, that ability to stop your momentum one way, you still utilize that energy and then pop it up. All right, so little things like that, it can help us work on. Obviously, single leg, you can see if you need more unilateral strength, a lot of unilateral plyometrics and all of that. So that's first step. We just look at these regular box jumps, see how the athlete moves. So we utilize a lot of different box jumps and a lot of different jumps in general to get where we want to go. And like I said, everything is athlete dependent. So the progression I'm gonna give you is not a one size fits all. These are just kind of options that we like to use. So we're gonna be specific to, let's say, off-season development of an athlete. So when we're starting with the off-season, first thing I really like to work on is developing isometrics, right? We'll do some isos, we'll start incorporating some eccentric loading. So really focusing on that phase, the loading phase, structural tissue, right? Tendons, ligaments, working on their durability and their load tolerance. So there's a couple of things we do here. This is gonna be around our phase as well that we really start focusing on the ability to divert force. So can you load a movement and can you utilize that force to aid in another? So we don't need maxes in any of them, but we're just working on that transition, and a lot of that comes with structural tissue strength and tolerance of load. One big thing when we are working with speed and jumping and all that is as we're transitioning, so if I'm hitting my approach jump, as I'm transitioning from forward to up, I'm obviously producing a lot of force going forward, right? Velocity, my velocity is high. As I stop going forward, I have to produce equal amounts of force in my deceleration to pop myself up. So that's one of the biggest things is, do we have strength in that bottom phase in order to produce force, to redirect force, right? It's just the laws of physics. As I push in, Like as I push into the ground's gonna push back into me. So am I strong in that bottom position to tolerate that? So one of the first things we do is gonna be a broad to box jump. So I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be, kind of far away. I'm gonna broad jump, and then I'm gonna use that jump to propel up. So I'm here, up, pop up. So all we're working on is the ability to go forward and then to pop up. Another thing that I love to do is gonna be a depth jump. This one is fantastic to start working on structural tissue and load tolerance. Tendons take the longest time to adapt. That's why we like to do it at the start of our training session. These are fantastic for structural tissue, for tendons, durability. So we're gonna start tall. Usually I'll use an 18. This is a 12, too lazy to grab one. We're here, quick and up, right? So I have to be really strong on the ground as I drop from that 12, load everything and pop up. So I love doing depth jumps at the start to work on the structural tissue. One of the other exercises I love is gonna be something like a dumbbell hinge. Woo! A dumbbell hinge to a jump. So this is gonna start working on the eccentric loading of the jump, as well as holding it at the bottom, low tolerance structural tissue. So I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna have a slight bend. I'm gonna hinge, right? We're going like RDL style, not squat style. So I'm here, 1, 2, drop, and then I'm gonna jump up onto the boxes. So real speed, 1, 2, drop, jump, right? So I have to load it really well, hold it, and then explode out, deload it on the explosion. I can also go pretty heavy with this, really load that, and then be able to pop out. So these are kind of the box jump variations I like to do towards that first stage, typically. All right, so in the next phase, I like to start working on quickness. So we're still gonna work on the structural tissue, the loading, but now we wanna start working a little bit on the exploding. So load and explode. And a big part of being explosive and being quick is that cognitive ability. So I wanna start training this right now. The ability for my mind to say go and my body to go immediately. So one of the things I love to do is going to be a single leg speed box jump. So I'm coming to the 12, you can go to the 18. A lot of our older athletes go higher. We're gonna be here, one leg. As soon as I say go in my mind, my body reacts. I'm jumping as fast as I can. Load it, reset. We'll hit the other leg. Right, so it's not the highest jump, but it's fast. I'm ready to go. I'm starting in the bottom right here. So when I'm ready to go, boom, my body just shoots out, right? As soon as you pull the trigger, you're gone. Another one is gonna be continuous box jumps. I'm just gonna keep showing you on the 12 because I'm lazy to get the 18. I like these because it teaches the ability to start utilizing more energy over and over and over. When we jump, when we sprint, when we do a lot of sport-specific movements, we're utilizing stored energy. So if we can train that while jumping, then the better I am at utilizing stored energy, the more efficient I'll be, the less force I have to continue producing. Think a kangaroo. When they jump, it's just freaking effortless, right? So we're gonna hit some continuous box jumps. I'm gonna be here, pop off. I'm just gonna go back and forth. Notice how when I land, I stay here on the balls of my feet, right? I'm not collapsing every time. I'm staying strong. This continues to build structural tissue, lower limb development. Usually by now, our athletes are getting a little bit stronger and able to tolerate load more after the depth jumps, so we're able to hit this. We can also hit that single leg, by the way, right? Just here, up and down. So make sure you incorporate that as well. Third progression that I like to do, or I'll say another exercise in this progression I like to do, is gonna be seated box jumps. Typically, you'll find seated box jumps in most people's third stage because it's pure concentric action, right? There's no load, nothing. All I'm doing is concentric force development from sitting here. I like to do it in this stage because same thing I said with the single leg speed box jump, is this teaches you the ability, my mind says go, relay it to my body, no delay. So I'm here, down, boom, pop up, right? I love that one, especially when we partner that with like a front squat, for example, just that ability to go, to produce force. After that, another one we can do is we're going back to the continuous, but now we're continuing to improve our cognitive ability. So the ability to keep going with our mind when, I'll say, shit gets confusing, right? When we're playing sports, there's so much stimulation happening at all the time, and you have to be able to see everything, hear everything, every little interaction, make a decision split second. So we're gonna be here and we're going to double leg alternating continuous box jump. So I jump to land one, right here. I gotta stay under control. I can't lose my balance. I have to think about what I'm doing. I have to stay light and I have to float. That one can get a little bit confusing for people who, I say, don't have the best coordination or athleticism. So that one's really good at working on this cognitive ability. I think you can kind of start to understand this phase of the game is mind muscle. Another exercise I like to do, half kneeling box jump. Once again, that mind says go, the body reacts. This one I like here because as we're developing our sprints, this one works sprints as well. Here, load it, pop up, and go. All right, phase 3. We're kind of putting everything together. So now we're getting more into the actual movement, right? We're not breaking some shit up about it. We're just kind of going with the full movement. We're still working on max force production, high amounts of velocity, right? As we're jumping, obviously at the bottom, that's max force output because I got to get my body off the ground. But once I'm off the ground, it's just about velocity, right? How much velocity are you producing? Because that's what's gonna keep propelling you up. The velocity, that speed, that's highest at the peak of your jump, right? So we need to make sure we're really good at that. A great way to do that is working on your ability to utilize energy to just spring, right? What we like to do is gonna be weighted box jumps, okay, one of these exercises. So now this is just a regular box jump. I'm here, I'm gonna load it, and I'm gonna go. So now we're utilizing the load, the energy stored, right? That stretch shortening cycle to help jump. We got some load in there, not too much load, right? You don't want it to be crazy. Light load, that's just gonna help you improve your force output, but not slow you down. So I'm here, load it, boom, jump up. That's one thing we like to do. Another one, you might have heard me talk about this in a recent video, especially on Instagram. It's gonna be rotational jumps. Without getting too much detail, rotational forces are everything in human movement. Given our joints, given mechanics, the way we move, everything's rotational force. If an athlete's not training rotational force, no matter the sport, even if you're just a sprinter, right? Nothing against sprinting, but when you think rotation, you think like baseball or tennis. Even if you're a sprinter, a soccer player, whatever you are, you have to train rotation because everything is rotational force. So we're gonna hit something like a rotational box jump here, where I'm here, boom, I rotate up. We can even make it a little bit more dynamic, where I shuffle into a jump, right? We can even hit a drop step, boom, here, pop up. So we get a little bit more realistic with it. In addition, we're now gonna start working on some more max approach jumps. Obviously, I don't have enough boxes for my max because I can jump high. But we're gonna go high, right? We're gonna work on taking velocity into the jump, being able to hit it here, boom, hit it hard, that penultimate step. Now that we've developed this ability, can we utilize the force, the velocity that we take into our jump to pop it up? So that's what you're gonna start seeing more of, those approach jumps. We're gonna get this box back for our seated box jumps, but this time we're gonna hit something like a rolling seated box jump. So instead of just here, now I'm gonna pick my feet up, boom, force in, then I pop up. Utilizing more stored energy, utilizing velocity, momentum, all those fun, snazzy things as I look to my notes. Another one, continuing on this theme, gonna be hurdles to a box jump. Once again, working on the ability to utilize stored energy, but now we're hitting a couple max jumps and then a big jump, right? So hurdle, over, up, something like that, where you have to hit some consecutive big jumps. We're not hitting something small. We have to decel from a high height, pop up again, utilization of energy, massive body control, massive coordination, which brings us to the last, oh, lost the leg, which brings us to the last exercise of this phase for this video. We're hitting our major coordination one, single leg alternating continuous box jumps, similar to the double leg we did during phase 2. We're now hitting single leg, up one, down, back and forth, just like that. Working your mind, working your body, working the ability to be athletic as hell. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm severely out of breath. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you give it a thumbs up. We'll see you in the next one.